To my stepsons, I leave the controlling shares of the company.
To my wife, Claudia, I leave the summer home.
Listen carefully, because this is the last time you will hear it from me. You children will get nothing. The stepmother's voice cut through the mourning house like cold metal. The twins flinched, hands locked tight in front of their fathers. Photo adults sat frozen, some avoiding the children's eyes, others quietly agreeing. Then the lawyer opened his folder, stared straight at her, and spoke a sentence so heavy it made the whole room forget how to breathe. The house still smelled like funeral flowers and damp coats. Lily sat in every corner, trying to soften a grief that would not be softened. The living room was packed with relatives who had arrived for comfort but stayed for curiosity. At the center stood 10-year-old twins, Noah and Nora Bennett, dressed in black that hung too stiff on their small frames. Their father's portrait rested on the mantel, his smile frozen in a way that hurt to look at. A candle beside it flickered low, like it was tired too. Daniel Bennett had been their world, a quiet man with steady hands and a laugh that came easy only around his kids. He ran a construction company that grew slowly but honestly, built on small jobs done right and promises kept. He was not flashy, but he was solid, the kind of father who fixed broken bikes and broken hearts with the same patience. When a sudden car accident took him, the twins didn't just lose a parent. They lost the voice that made home feel safe. They were barely past the shock of the funeral when they were told to sit for the will reading. They didn't understand inheritance. They understood absence. They wanted Sunday pancakes back. They wanted their dad to call them his 2 stars again. But adults speak in papers when children need hugs, and grief becomes a stage for power. Behind the twins stood Vivian Bennett, Daniel's second wife. She wore a fitted black dress, expensive and perfect, and a face that looked like it had practiced. This moment, her eyes were dry. Her posture was sharp and claiming. She had married Daniel after the twins' mother died, when they were 4. Back then, she brought gifts and warm smiles, and Daniel, desperate to rebuild a family, trusted that kindness. He wanted someone who could share the weight of raising 2 grieving little souls. He thought Vivian would love them as her own. But love can be an act when someone wants a seat at the table more than a place in the heart. As the years passed, the twins felt the hidden side of her. Smiles that vanished when Daniel left the room. Sighs that followed their laughter. Corrections. That felt more like punishment than guidance. She'd never hit them. She never screamed. She did something colder. She made them feel like visitors in their own house. Daniel noticed flashes of it, but he always chose hope over fear. He believed time would soften her. He believed family meant trying. Then Daniel died and the trying stopped. Since the funeral, Vivian moved through the home like she had won it. She rearranged rooms, boxed up toys, met the accountant alone, and spoke about protecting the family while quietly pushing the twins into smaller corners of their own life. Noah and Nora didn't have words for manipulation, but they had the ache of it. They felt a door closing every day. Now at the will reading, Vivian finally said the part she had been holding back. She leaned close, voice sweet and cutting, and told them they would receive no inheritance. She said Daniel had debts. She said the company would be hard to keep alive. She said children don't need money, adults do. She said it as if she were doing them a favor by lowering expectations. Noah stared at the floor, his chest tightening like a fist. Nora's eyes flooded, but she blinked hard, refusing to cry in front of her. The relatives sat silent. A few shifted. In discomfort, few nodded to Vivian like her cruelty was practical wisdom. Nobody protected the children from the moment. Harold Vance, Daniel's lawyer, watched without reacting. He was a silver-haired man with calm eyes and a folder that had traveled through Daniel's life for years. He had helped Daniel set up property, deals, business shares, savings plans, all the quiet scaffolding a father builds when he knows life is fragile. Harold didn't speak until the room settled into that ugly silence. He opened the folder, cleared his throat once, and addressed the house with a steady voice. He asked everyone to remember that a will is not a conversation. It is a final message. It deserves respect. Vivian's mouth twitched into a practiced smile. Sure, the papers would back her. Harold began. He confirmed Daniel's identity, the legality of the will, and then listed assets one by one. The construction company with its newest contracts, the family home. 2 rental properties Daniel had bought quietly over the last decade. Investment accounts that had grown in the background like a secret garden. The numbers were larger than most people expected. The room leaned in, surprised. Vivian's eyes sharpened with hunger she could not hide. Then Harold turned a page and the air changed. He explained that Daniel had created a trust for Noah and Nora years earlier, right after their mother died. A trust designed to protect them from chaos, from grief-based mistakes, from anyone who might one day see their loss as an opportunity. It had been written tight, sealed with independent witnesses, and reinforced again after Daniel remarried. Vivian's posture stiffened. Her smile thinned. Harold read the core lines slowly, letting each word land. Every major property Daniel owned, including the construction company's shares and the family home, belonged to the trust. The sole beneficiaries were Noah and Nora. Vivian was allowed to live in the home only until the twins turned 18. She would receive a fixed monthly allowance for household needs, but she would not own the assets. She would not control the trust. Its ownership was the children's. Every building, every account, every share. Silence snapped across the room like a wire pulled tight. A cousin inhaled loud. An uncle whispered what? The relatives, who had been ready to watch 2 children lose everything, now stared at the lawyer as if the laws of gravity had shifted. Vivian stood suddenly, voice shaking with disbelief. She demanded to know how that could be possible. She said she was the wife. She said she had sacrificed. She said Daniel never would have left her. Powerless. She said the company needed her and children couldn't handle such responsibility. She tried to turn outrage into authority. Harold lifted another document. He said Daniel had also left a personal letter, separate from the will. He read it carefully. Daniel wrote that he loved Vivian and wished her security, but his first duty was to his children. He wrote that he had seen moments where Vivian struggled to accept them fully. He wrote that he feared what could happen if the twins were left unprotected in their grief. He wrote that the trust was not revenge, it was safety. The room felt the weight of that truth settle into place. It wasn't just about money. It was about a father seeing danger before anyone else did, and quietly building a shield out of legal ink. Vivian's face drained of color. Her mouth opened, searching for a counter that did not exist. Paper does not bend for pride. Law does. Not soften for manipulation. She looked around for support and found only eyes that had turned cold toward her. The same relatives who had stayed silent earlier were now ashamed of where their silence had almost led. Harold did not raise his voice. He didn't need to. He explained that the trust had already been executed. Property titles were transferred. Accounts were locked for the children's future. Any challenge would require a court, and Daniel's letter would stand as evidence of intent. There was no loophole left to pry open. Vivian realized then that the prize she thought she was taking had never been hers to claim. She grabbed her purse, muttered something about betrayal, and walked out. Her heels struck the hardwood fast, but every step sounded smaller than the one before. The door closed behind her, and the house felt lighter in a way sadness alone could never create. Harold turned back to Noah and Nora. He knelt so his eyes were level with theirs, the way Daniel always did. He told them calmly that their father had planned for them, that they were safe, that people Daniel trusted would manage the trust until they were older. He told them they would not lose their home. He told them their schooling and future were protected. Noah finally let tears spill, not for the inheritance, but for the sudden rush of feeling his father again. Nora squeezed his hand tighter and wiped his cheek with her sleeve, her own face breaking into a shaky smile. They understood. In their bones, what the adults had missed, their dad had seen them. Their dad had defended them. Even from beyond the grave, he had not left them alone. Relatives gathered closer now, softer, regretful, ready to repair what their silence had allowed. An aunt hugged them. An uncle promised to be present. The room slowly became what it should have been all along, a shelter instead of a battlefield. Asterisk that night. After everyone left, the twins sat on the floor in front of Daniel's photo. The candle burned low. Grief still lived in the corners, but so did something new. A steady comfort, quiet and strong. Their father's last gift was not just property. It was proof that love can protect you even when the world tries to take advantage of your weakest day.